Hey everybody, MooFanZ here. So I did have another review for you for tonight. So I decided to go back to my normal way of filming. And the movie that I just finished watching is 2020's Mulan, which is the live action remake of the 90s animated movie. And it's a different movie. But I had wanted to see this since it came out, but I didn't want to watch it in Premiere Access, and I wanted to wait till it came to free access, which was in December, but again, never got around to it. And then it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards this year, which is costumes and visual effects. So that got me interested in seeing it. So let's get into this. You probably have heard the story. The basic story is that Mulan impersonates her father in order to fight in a war for China against enemy invaders. And a woman is not taught to be a warrior. So they're taught to bring honor to the family and to be a wife. So let's get into some of these characters, and I wrote them down because there's a lot of cast in this. But first, the director is Nikki Caro, and she first came on the scene in 2002 when she directed Whale Rider, and I believe she might have been nominated for director for that movie, but I know it got acclaim back then. But she's also done McFarland USA, the sports movie, in 2015, and in 2017, The Zookeeper's Wife. But let's get into this cast. You have Yifei Liu, hopefully I'm saying that right, and she is Mulan. She was also in 2008's Forbidden Kingdom, which is the first time I saw her. You have Yosin An, who is Hong Hui, who's like her kind of equal in the army. And they have this interesting relationship. You have Donnie Yen, famous martial arts actor, who was in the Ip Man series, and he was also in Rogue One. He is Commander Tung. You have Li Gong, I have to read my handwriting, who is Shan Yang, and she accompanies the villain. She's like the right-hand woman to the villain, who is Bori Khan, played by Jason Scott Lee. And one other thing that he did is, in 1993, he played Bruce Lee in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. And finally, you have Jet Li, who plays the Emperor. And Jet Li, another famous martial arts actor. As with my last movie, I really like this tagline because it's said a lot through this movie. And that is loyal, brave, true. It definitely fits with this movie, and I definitely think it's a great tagline. So, let's get into this movie. We're going to start with a con, but it develops into a positive. So, I'm going to bring up a previous example, and that is Beauty and the Beast. When the live action version of that movie came out, I had a hard time watching it because it was almost scene for scene with the animated movie, and the whole time I was mentally comparing the animated movie with the live action. And that's why I never thought it was as good. At the beginning of this movie, probably the first half hour, I was doing the same thing. I was mentally comparing the live action version with the animated version. And it was very hard for me to enjoy this movie. But once I got past that and thought of it as a movie on its own and told from a different way, I really enjoyed this movie. And some of those things that I liked were the action. I thought that was really cool to watch. I really liked the look of the movie, especially like the landscapes and just the way it was shot. I liked the story. And I just because it was, I didn't write this down, but I liked that it was a different way of telling it. You did, the animated movie was kind of whimsical because you had the songs in there and you had more of the comedy and some of the characters. This one, it was straight up just like the legend. And I do have to say this before I give my score. This was nominated, so it was nominated for costumes, which I thought were good. They definitely fit the time period. And it was nominated for visual effects, but I wasn't a fan of the visual effects. I was more a fan of the score and the cinematography, which I think would have been better categories for it to be nominated for. And a fun fact is, so the Huns are not the main villain in this movie. They're kind of the Ruruns. That might be how you say it. But I found out this fact is that they were around at the same time period as when this movie takes place. So I liked that they kind of went that attention to detail. But let's get into the score. I'm going to give this, based on mentally comparing it and the not great visual effects, a 4.25 out of 5. Still really like the movie, but there were a couple things that brought it down. But that is my review for 2020's live action version of Mulan. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the movie. This is Movie Fan Z signing off. Have a good night.